But yeah, so uh, yeah, I think he had a change of heart from me being a shit stain to maybe liking me a bit. But yeah, I'll tell you how bad you are. Don't worry. Um, let's. What's your MMR? Did I hear you say your MMR? Okay. Okay. No, I just continue. Okay. Yeah, no. So we'll generally speaking, around your like, I've been starting to notice trends around every MMR. So I'll be I'll just be pretty much watching your lane. I'll take notes of any laning mechanics to talk about after the game, and then throughout the course of the mid game, I'll be yelling at you to. I'm assuming you're playing carry. Or are you playing mid? What are you looking to play here? Yeah, just first pick whatever you want to pick. Just first pick. Yeah. I was gonna. Go ahead. Okay. Okay. I recommend picking carry for the sake of there's actually a lot I can teach you about offlane too if I see it, but from the carry role. But I recommend first picking. Like I usually don't get the chance to say that ahead of time, or I try to say it, but sometimes I don't. Not first picking results in somebody taking your role and then people being sad. So it's generally I'd rather you have a not. I'd rather. Yeah, I'd rather you not have a ideal game with a hero that you're comfortable with than not the other way around, basically. Okay. Yeah, dude. Go for it. Uh, I think at the lower levels, when I say lower, I mean pretty much less than 5K. He's pretty strong, but at my level, he's not very good. I think that's pretty much my opinion. It's that with really good coordination, you can just kite him and kill him. In the high levels, even in pubs, people generally have a good idea that when Sved's ulted, you should kite him and don't just run into him and die. So that's generally speaking, like people will stun lock him a lot better and stuff. But at low levels, people just like don't coordinate and you kill them one by one. So he's not like a whole trash hero. He's just not like particularly strong in the highest tier right now. I think he's losing favor to heroes like Anti-Mage and Terrorblade and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, Nyx is falling off.
Man stands ready. Yeah.
Yeah. I personally like playing those a lot. I generally go for a lot of regen against Darkseer. So either you can go Mango or Salve here, your call. Sometimes I recommend Salve against Invis hero with a Darkseer because there's going to be a time in your lane where you're going to be tanking a lot of damage and salving up can be useful. So maybe like a Salve and a
Right.
yeah. I was gonna say maybe a Clarity in case. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. No. Keep the Salve. Keep the Salve. Trust me. Yeah, trust me. You're against the Darkseer bounty hunter. Like most of the time, I don't like going high regen, but against Darkseer uniquely, I like high regen.
Yes.
Just cause. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is true to some extent, but you
I'll
can
do
still
it.
queue it up. It's kind of one of those things where I'd prioritize. Like, imagine if you get harassed by
not?
bounty hunter down to 300 health if you don't have a salve. Like, you're kind of just sad for. Make sure you go to your lane, by the way.
Good.
Yeah, make sure you go to your lane, by the way. Yeah, you should like. Generally speaking, how it should go is
Delivery.
that, um,
I have waited long
like
enough.
top or bottom rune, the carry or
Yes.
offlaner shouldn't really help with the other rune. Like if everyone's going for bottom, the carry shouldn't help. If everyone's going for top,
I
then the
can do all
offlaner shouldn't
this.
help. Unless you're in like a super coordinated game where you're like 5-manning a rune and trying to get kills, but that's obviously not. It's
That's
obviously
right.
not pubs.
My code compels me.
Yeah, I'll be telling you when to group up, so don't group up unless you have to. This is what I mean by missing lane. That 90 XP was pretty huge. Yeah. Generally speaking, your heroes are coming over, so you might want stun here. This is basically based on what if you think you have kill potential, which you look like towards the end of this creep wave. Like you can start running at the guy, maybe. Yep. Stun him. Nice. Got him. And this is when salve is useful. Yeah. The iron shell doesn't pop salve. Yeah, you knew that though. That's why you used it. I know. I was joking. Yeah. I'd recommend boots and a quelling right now. Boots and a quelling. But yeah, sorry. I did play Meepo last night. Yes. Yes, dude. I won too. Yeah, I won. Make sure you sell your boots. Please sell your boots. Oh, whew. You're scaring me. Buy boots! Buy boots! Oh.
Your top
Yeah, I went 4 and 13 and we won. So. Go ahead and back away from the Darkseer with the Iron Shell. Generally speaking, in the situation you are right now, you should always be tangoing, and you should make sure not to really trade with him. Like, you can't really win the trade. You got the kill on him, and that's nice and all, but like any trade you have with him is not really going to be a winning trade. So just try to get as much CS here as possible. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Just you don't really want to be attacking creeps unless you're out of range of the Iron Shell. Doing what you did right there, you're just like you're taking paths that are forcing you back through Iron Shell. Just be wary of not doing that.
On the way.
Yeah. Not much you can do about that. Yeah, you'd rather him do that than what he was doing before.
Right.
Tough lane, man. Yeah, I would probably go Treads, or you can go Helm of the Iron Will for regen, is how I would look at it. Depending on what you think you'd rather have, the Helm of Iron Will would be useful for regen because of the Iron Shield. I don't recommend the lifesteal first because you're not going to be hitting creeps very often. In some lanes you can hit creeps a lot more often than others, but this one you're obviously not spending much time hitting creeps. Yeah. You're a melee hero solo against Darkseer. You're taking a little bit too much harass, more so than you should be, but otherwise, like, there's not much you can really do. I would never really do that, ever. Yeah, I would just go back to base, honestly. You just need to go back. Your team is ganking for you now when you're no health. You need to go back to base. You go back to base, 100%. I did not change that idea. Okay. I would actually just buy a Glove of Haste and salve. And hopefully what can accomplish here is that do you know what I mean by pull creep aggro? Something you can really try to do against dark, yeah, like by A-clicking a hero. And like what I'm trying to say is like when the Darkseer Iron Shell's one creep, you can actually like aggro the other two from out of range of that other one. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what the range on creep aggro is? Yeah, like leave the ion shell one where it is, like, but so you have to position yourself pretty well. That's something you can definitely look to do. It's kind of tough, but it's something to keep in mind against Darkseer. So like, yeah, like right there, since the other two creeps were already there, I would have pulled it. Yeah, you actually did it there. You actually did it right there, but now it's, yeah, kind of like that. But once it gets the double ion shell, it's just really tough in general.
Good.
I would stop running away from your creeps, because now you're getting chased by an ion shell. And just took a ton of damage. That's what I'm talking about, like, yeah, casual. Yeah, it's just a little bit. So, like, right there, I would have A-clicked him and pulled that ion shell creep into tower range. That's, like, another thing you can do. Like, that's something, you need to get rid of the ion shell creeps however you can. So either making it so you're not taking damage from them, or making it so that you're, they're dying first. So that's something, like, if it's right outside of tower range, like, try to draw the ion shell creep to you. Yeah, right there's fine. Like, what you did, now you should attack that creep, yeah. So, like, anytime you have an opportunity to attack a creep that's not... Oh, there's a bounty hunter. Oh, God. Generally speaking, it's in your best interest to run into the trees. Up here. Right here? Yeah. Yeah, just right here. You just run. You should just run immediately and start juking them and use your quelling blade to, like, cut down this tree and juke them. That's like your immediate reaction whenever you're getting to top or bottom. Run into the trees. It's always a reaction, honestly. Unless you think you can actually just run straight back to your tier 2 and live, then you need to just straight up try to juke them.
Attack.
So, like, right now, I'd walk up and kill the iron. Oh, never mind, it's dead.
Good idea. Of course.
Try to do what I was talking about. Never mind, too late now. Yeah, so let the iron shell creep die first. Watch out for bounty hunter. Go towards the range creep now. Looks like he's cutting the creep wave. Hope he's not. Go and attack this next wave out as soon as possible. I don't think the Darkseer will be there right away. Yeah, like just you just like wasted 2 attacks. It's fine though. It's like everything matters in Darkseer lanes. It's like really hard to explain it exactly. But like pushing the lane as much as possible makes this part of the game minimum. Like by you tanking creeps under tower with ion shell onto them. No, just like you under tower tanking ion shell creeps. You can actually like maybe do a lot of damage to him. Oh god. Punch hook your teammate! Oh god. Okay, so yeah, no, I know he can't. I'm still rooting for him. Yeah, you were. I was baited as well. Is your salve still on the courier, or did you never buy that?
Tower is under siege.
Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead and give yourself that. But okay, so we're gonna talk about a lot of laning mechanics that it's hard to 100% judge based off this game because it's Darkseer, but I'm gonna talk about them. Go ahead and TP top. Yeah, bottom's fine. Bottom's fine.
Not yet.
No, I'll talk about it after the game. I'll have it after the game.
Your top tower is under attack.
Okay.
Yeah, TPing bottom was fine there.
I'll do it.
Generally speaking, I don't love leaving safe lane, but with the safe lane you had, I don't mind it either. Back off. Woo. Yeah. I would have taken the hit there, honestly. The lack of mana, because you have a salve, is more costly than the health. I wouldn't recommend a raindrop. I just would recommend like a stick.
Why not?
He has no spin, so I'd recommend hitting this wave pretty aggressively. Yeah. No, it's fine. He had no spin, so. Got him. Go ahead and salve up as soon as you can. Oh no! Woo! No, it was his Q. Ancient Apparition Q killed you. Yeah, he must be maxing it. It's pretty low cooldown with max level. But the major thing here is that like when okay, so right there, why'd you go back in on the AA is the best question. And my answer to you is why you shouldn't is because your teammates are gonna kill him, and his only gain he has is potentially killing you. So by giving him even an opportunity to do so is just completely unnecessary. This is a tough game. Honestly, like, it's pretty tough to coach you through this. You basically just have to look for kills as much as possible, but avoid the Darkseer Bounty Hunter combo. So I'd probably go top. Yeah. This is a tough game. Like, this is actually really tough. Some coaching games I have a tough time. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's tough to like. There's so much going wrong that it's like really hard to guide you through it. Oh, does he? Nice, nice. That's great. Go ahead and push the next wave out. Hurry. No, next wave, next wave, next wave. Yeah, like actually just hit that Ion Shell creep. Okay. Go to the medium camp. Or yeah, the other one, because he probably killed that one. Oh god, there's fucking Bounty Hunter. You're gonna have to stun him, yeah. Jesus, stick. Yeah, you already used it. I mean, this game just sucks, quite honestly. I guess just stop going top is like in pubs like or like in coordinated Dota. I would just say like, you know, the only way you're coming back is by killing that Bounty Hunter Darkseer with like 5 heroes. But your teammates aren't gonna do that, so you gotta just make do and go to elsewhere. Looks like the tiny. I would either go for the I would still go for the Helm of the Dominator. Honestly, I would not go back top. You just like your team's not gonna help you. Go try to push whatever lane you can push without dying. Pretty much what your goal is right now. It's very tough. I'm entirely aware of how tough it is. That's why I'm struggling to exactly tell you what to do. Yeah. I would go into their woods. I would armor your creep wave and okay, that's fine too. They're all showing, but like you just need to be really careful. They're coming behind you on tiny, so I would run down right. That's fine. No, you had to do it. You had to do it.
Your bottom tower has been destroyed.
Agreed. Good enough.
You can push next creep wave. There's no. I don't think those two can kill you.
Why not?
With the helm.
Your middle tower is
Yeah, Jug A.
Feel my blade.
Armor and run! Run! Oh, what are you doing? Oh god. That has I don't know if like what you view of that, but that time to turn around is actually like massive. Yeah. Like you just had to run. Like if you immediately, like the minute he stunned avalanche comboed you, if you just ran, I'm pretty sure you live there. Like if you just E and ran, And what you do in that scenario on a hero like Sven is you save until they dive you under tower, and then you stun them under tower. And that's how you should play it. What do you mean right click thing turn on? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, those little things, like, do make a huge difference, and I can only tell you as, playing a carry that the few deaths you've had that have just been, like, executional based are pretty massive, and we'll talk about them after the game. In terms of, there's, like, an overarching concept, we can talk about for that.
Good idea.
I mean, everyone's playing like, everyone's doing poorly. So if they flamed you, it'd just be out of anger, not out of reasonableness.
Your bottom tower is under siege.
Lol.
My code compels me.
You should be able to push out mid here. Looks like, yeah, you might be able to go on that guy.
Right.
Stun them, sinking. Oh god. What a disaster. That's the scenario where the only reason that didn't work is because you're down 25-8 against a bounty hunter. Yeah, usually you could kill him with those 3 heroes, but the guy has fucking Greaves at 15 minutes, so yeah, he just used, yeah. Tough game. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep looking for things to talk about, like, after the game. Right now, there's, like, you kind of, like, have to fight your way back, but you can't, so maybe, like, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, you can go armlet, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
It's only proper.
Yeah, space creation hook, for sure.
Bow down. Yes. Oh, touch me!
During these times when you're, like, killing creeps, you should look at, like, what's happening bottom. Just, yeah, just for the sake of knowing. You should run away. Yeah, nice armor boost for your axe there. One of those reasons why you should look what's happening bottom is, like, what if you had looked what happening, like, look what's setting up bottom, and in this case, like, because you're so far behind, you probably realize that you'll need an extra hero, and you could have, like, immediately TP'd tier 2 bottom the minute that fight broke out, and maybe cleaned up the Darkseer. And, like, it's one of those things where those are the kind of plays where right now in the situation you're in, that's what you kind of got to go for, because, like, if you look bottom and see, like, there's a fight breaking out, and the other team's not helping the Darkseer, that means they're also probably somewhere else, which means that they're... Oh. You have stick charges? Oh. Yeah, I know you did. Fucking Jug just walks in and goes ham. Why does everyone go... Yeah, I mean, that's totally worth in the end of the day, but why does everyone go phase Battle Fury at this tier? It bothers me. Yeah, no, it's just like, where's the Aquila? Like, nobody goes Aquila. It's so good on the... Mask of Madness was interesting. I don't miss it, though. Yeah, it was. Yeah, man, I'm honestly... What I'm gonna do for the rest of this game, honestly, is I'm just gonna take notes on what you're doing, because me trying to tell you anything is just irrelevant at this point. I'm just gonna take notes on what you're doing. Because if I tell you anything, it's probably not gonna result in anything positive either, so... Like, I don't want... I want to see what you would do naturally. Yeah. Just, first off, you should probably level your ult at 11, but that's like, that's you know...
Okay. Underway.
Understandable.
Understood.
Probably not alone, but there's no tiny or bounty hunter. I guess he was alone. That guy was just ham walling for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah, so during this time, generally when people are dead, you want to look to get as much done as possible during that time. So yeah, what you're doing now is fine. So when that bounty hunter's back alive, yeah, you should book it.
Yeah. To battle.
In games like this, it's usually worth sacrificing some health to get creeps. Yeah, go for it. Chase.
That claims the right.
It's alright, you just gotta kill them and get out. Looks like they're not even coming. Either's fine right now in this kind of game. I don't think you're gonna get a tower, so you don't want to die. That's pretty much your purpose right now.
Never yet.
Yeah, like that.
Your top tower is
I would
being
just go back
attacked.
to base.
Not yet. Ah!
In this scenario, I'm gonna repeat that, like, just do what you think's not gonna get you killed. Like, recovering in whatever way is not gonna get you killed. That's the way you
Very
keep
well.
losing. So, like, if you ask me, like, between jungle and tower, like, which one do you think's less likely to get you killed?
Armlet.
And sometimes
Losing.
pushing tower is the answer. So. Yeah, force them back, or like you have your teammates with you. Yeah, you have your teammates with you, so it's like more safe to do that. I recommend using TP scrolls every now and then. You keep like having 3 TP scrolls on you. Yeah, like I would have TP'd. It's one of those where like worst case scenario you TP and do nothing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Your middle tower has fallen.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, I'll talk to you. I already have notes on that fight. I'm not telling you what to do in the fight because I want to see what you do. So,
Your bottom tower is
because that's
under
about all I
attack.
got for this. Like, it's a weird session, but I always end up finding things to talk about, so it's fine. I'm not too concerned. Yeah, there's always stuff to talk about. This is honestly, yeah, probably BKB. Just fighting items. Yeah.
Of course. Agreed.
I just push out bottom. Looks like they're just rushing. Yeah,
Die now.
at least I think so.
At last.
Looks like your team's doing something.
To battle.
Get him, Sand King. He has a fucking shivers. Yeah, this game is over 100%. Okay, but yeah, so that's a shivers. At 24 minutes. Yeah. He is indeed level 17.
Your bottom tower looks fantastic.
It's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. There's not much you could have done in general to shut him down, but letting him get the kills on you was pretty crippling to the overall game. Like, it's not that you're like spurring his farm ahead, it's that like you're not able to be a presence on the map, which makes it so that he can just do whatever he wants and then get more farm that way. So it's not like the gold he gets from killing you, it's the gold he gains because you're not able. Yeah, from you not being able to be a like. It's like you're not able to be a threat because you died. You know. So it's not this. It's like there's nothing you really could do after you died. So the dying part's what I'm gonna be talking about a lot. SK, no. How'd you die? Oh, you probably turned your armlet on with a ult, yeah.
Your middle tower is being attacked.
Woo! Yeah, dude, this is. Yeah, it's obviously horrible. There's a reason why you didn't see it for a long time.
Your bottom tower is under
Dindy on your team, dude. Your Pudge has a Midas as well. I think your Pudge has more farm than you do. It's pretty
Your
close.
top tower is under siege.
I would go and let this game end unless you want. You can play some. You can do some stupid shit if you want. I mean, like if you want to dick around with your teammates while the game's still going on.
Your top tower is under
Yeah. Okay. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah. That's. I like that philosophy. I like that philosophy because there's ever a way you come back. It's also by somehow getting like 4 kills randomly. So you might as well go for it. Go for the home run. All in, all go home, go all in or all home, or go home, or go big or go home. Holy shit, I'm tired. Okay. I just woke up. I did win, but it was a disaster. It was a disaster. And then I played a Luna game afterwards, and I got Dazzle Darkseered and didn't have any support. And I didn't even get to that point. Yes, it was similar, yes. But even I couldn't find space to farm in that game. I was getting followed around by a Dazzle Darks. The Dazzle maxed Poison Touch and followed me around. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Roshan has been killed by the
Good
Raven.
idea.
Uh,
So you say.
he just, I said like, you know, as a sellout, I was just like, yeah, I'll play a game of a hero going to the highest bidder, and that's when I got the $200 Meepo donation. But I was like, but the other guy had donated $10 for Luna. Apparently, I've ruined his night. Is what he said by playing Luna. Yeah. I'm like, it's not my. I tried. I tried to win. Is this comeback? This is comeback. Go! You have fucking 2,800 gold.
Not done yet. I can do no less. That claims the right.
Your team understands what they need to do to get back in this game. Oh, good. Yeah, every man for himself. Arma toggle? Oh! You can toggle while you TP, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, no, so you turn it on and off. Or off and on, I mean. You have to try. Like, there's the only way you're living. The odds of you living are very slim, but... And you
Your
TP.
bottom tower is being attacked.
Go ahead and buy your Echo Saber and then... Holy shit, I got hiccups. Yeah, and lose the game. Oh my god, I have hiccups. Why? Okay. Yeah, what does it sound like? No, it's hiccups. It's hiccups. 100%. They could have. It's definitely a possibility. Have to be willing to factor in all possibilities.
I am not yet beaten. My code compels me. So you say. Not done yet.
Yeah, it's been a pretty non-all chat kind of game.
Underway.
I always like to check coaching sessions to see if I have anyone muted, because if I have them muted, that's probably from a past coaching session. Yeah, I've had it happen a few times where I just. Yeah, I'm talking about in game of the student I'm coaching. You know, like the other 9 people. I've had times where somebody's just randomly muted. Yeah, sadly the other team has learned not to fight you. Yeah, get him, dude. Run at him. This is your chance to come back. Well, maybe not ulti that soon. Oh, he tossed him back in. Get him. The Darcy is yours. Oh, you blocked him.
Your top barracks.
Yeah, that was kind of on you.
Your top barracks has fallen.
Okay, we'll start talking about the stuff. So, laning mechanics wise, this applies to every lane, but it's like your inability or lack of understanding to do so is incredibly emphasized by Darkseer. So generally speaking, what I was talking about in lane, I was trying to explain, is that especially if you watch me or any other safe lane carry play, is that the goal is that anytime you have to tank creeps under tower, what does that do? I'm asking you. Yeah, it's... Yeah, you're losing regen, you're potentially missing CS, like, because you're under tower. So, the goal is, because those are the two major reasons. The other reason on top of that is if the player's good, he can pull the big camp here while you're sitting under tower. Yeah, and deny you XP as well. So, generally speaking, a lot of people don't understand that the lane pushing into you is really bad in like most scenarios. So like a lot of people, yeah, so a lot of people think that like pulling the wave into your tower is like, you know, I'm nice and safe under my tower, so that's like a good way to win my lane. And that's just not the case at all. So in this scenario, it's a Darkseer. So I told you specifically against Darkseer how I would push the wave as much as possible. So like what happens is like if I pull the one creep, if you see me playing against Darkseer, if I pull the one creep away from the other Iron Shell creeps, then I'll spend as much time auto attacking that one creep as I possibly can. So like I'll pull it away, like you would pull it away and then like let it stay there and not attack it. So like my point being in this case, prioritizing pushing the wave is just a huge deal. Because it's all about that big camp in the end of the day. And it's all about the big camp, and it's all about exchange of harass, like you talked about. So if you have more creeps than he does, so like ideally speaking, how I look at it is that if you set it up such that your creep wave is going to survive, God, I've got hiccups, is going to survive with like half of a melee creep's health and a range creep, but you're pushing the lane, holy shit, but you're pushing the lane, then what's going to happen is at the end of every creep wave, the lane's going to push, your melee creep's going to die along with your range creep to the next wave. Like, they're going to die before your creep wave gets there. So it's not like you're stacking up range creeps. And then every moment in the lane where you have more creeps, oh my god, every time in the lane you have more creeps than the other guy, you can use that time to be aggressive. It doesn't necessarily apply to Darkseer, because he can just shell himself and, you know, man up on you even if he doesn't have creeps. But like in almost every other scenario that allows you to benefit from trading with them, so like, you know, you can, if he ever tries to trade with you, they're also tanking creeps. So it's like something big there. So like, but against Darkseer, obviously, if you're utilizing the little things I was talking about, pulling the Ion Shell creep away, or pulling the creeps away from the Ion Shell creep, pulling the Ion Shell creep into tower, it was one of those things where I can't think of everything. Like I don't like, a lot of things for me are natural. Like I've played against Darkseer so many times that like I didn't even think about telling you. You know, whenever you see an opportunity to pull a Darkseer or an Ion Shell creep into tower range, do it. But then like the second it happened, I was like, yeah, that's what you should have done. Like that's what happens for me is like you know that's what your goal, my goal for you is to make it so that that becomes natural for you. So the thought process I want you to have is every lane you're going into, first off, you want to know if that big camp's there. That's a big important knowledge for you, knowing whether that big camp's there. Second off, if the camp's not there, then obviously trying to just win the lane as much as possible with CS as well as harass is the most important thing. But if the big camp is there, the question you have to ask yourself is, how hard can I push the wave? How well can they contest the stack? How well can my hero clear stacks? So, like, for instance, on Sven, it's really good to have him against a hero that allows you to push the wave, because you can just, like, stack the camp 4 times in the first 6 minutes of the game, and then clear it the second you hit 6, you know, and get, like, you know, 800 gold and XP from it. So, that's, like, the big thing with a hero like Sven. Juggernaut is similar, because, like, Spin, Lifestealer can generally just attack the way forward and tank some a little bit because of Feast. So, like, heroes like that are generally good. Slark, once he hits 6, really good. Like, think about every hero of the game and how they could push the lane, and think about what that applies to the lane in every given matchup. Because, like, you know, for Darkseer, it's just really tough. Like I said, like, the ways to push against him are not so natural. So, second off, based on... This is purely based, and I know I'm accurate, like, I just know because I've seen it enough, but... based on every time you got gone on at any point in the game, you panicked. Like pretty much every time you got gone on, you panicked. Tiny bottom, the under tower top, like there are just a bunch of examples, and what that boils down to is you're playing the game aimlessly, and that's like the best way to word it. The reason why you look at professional players or players better than me, but also myself, semi-pro, I guess you'd call me, is that what? No, so I was gonna say that like the reason why when you look at the players like that and they react flawlessly, very quickly to what situation goes on, and on the contrary, when they don't react flawlessly, the reason why they do react flawlessly is because they have a general idea of what's gonna happen. Meaning, like, you know, if they're playing against the Bounty Hunter Darkseer lane, they realize that any point that they're under the tower, there's a decent chance, like, at some point in time, there's going to be a Bounty Hunter there with Ion Shell on them. So what that means is that since they know that's a possibility, they have an idea of, if that happens, what do I do? So the minute that it does happen, they do it. Like they don't have to think about, what do I do now? They just think, the minute that happens, I'm going to do it. And have a general idea of what's going to happen. So, like, when you're bottom lane, like, for you, you should be thinking, you know, who's missing off the map? What's a threat to me? If I get gone on by Tiny, what do I do? So it's like one of those things, but before it happens. And so what happens is the minute that it does happen, so, like, if you look at the game right there, at that scenario bottom, is that, like, none of your teammates are near you. They do have 2 people showing, so it's not going to be like all 5 suddenly killing you. But at the same time, you're not going to get any help. What is the main emphasis, and you're not going to be able to solo kill anybody because you're so far behind. So the major thing you have to look at with all those factors being weighed in is the second you get initiated on, there's nothing for you to accomplish from trying to trade or stun the guy or anything. Your only goal right there was to survive and farm. So minimizing as much possible damage you can take, as well as just not dying, is what you should be doing. So, like, at that case, the minute he goes on you, if you had that in mind, you would have just ran. Like, you'd have been like, yeah, nothing I can do, run. And that's going to happen sometimes. But that's how you come back in the game, is by doing every little thing that I'm talking about right there effectively. So the major thing I'm looking at for you, though, is, like, it happens a lot around your level. It's not. It's the idea that you are panicking, and to avoid panicking, to like have a game plan, know what's coming, or like what possibilities are coming. Like think about these are the 5 heroes I'm playing against. Like some games when I'm like been streaming for like 7 or 8 hours, I'll just be like playing safe lane 1v1 pretty much like without much support, and they have a Ricky who hasn't fucked with me for like 7 minutes, like hasn't been in my lane for the first 7 minutes, and since I'm tired, I like zone out a bit, and then like the second that Ricky comes into my lane, I either like die or take like a ton of damage because I like panic because there's a Ricky there, and I'm like, what the fuck? There's a Ricky here. I didn't calculate this into my idea. Yeah. So it's kind of like if you do that, it's gonna make you react poor, like if you're not thinking about what's in your game. And so, like, also, like, when you're getting dope under tower, I already said it once, but like, juking into the trees is your best option, unless you can just bolt. But against Darkseer, generally speaking, running isn't the best option because he can just surge and chase after you. But yeah, so the main purpose I'm looking at for you is having the plan of like what you're gonna do if X happens. On my notes I said what you're gonna do if X happens. Like whatever's gonna happen, what are you gonna do in reaction to it? So in this case, like just noticing you're panicking, it's like this has a lot to do with information gathering. A lot of people around high 3K to mid 4K, their information gathering is very poor, in general. And for your case here, it's just a factor of like acknowledging threats. It's always different. Like it's something about acknowledging threats. Sometimes it's checking items. Sometimes it's like, when you're farming aggressively, knowing how much you can do based on what the enemy teams like has in terms of like mana or health, or items too. But like a major thing is like when I say intelligence gather or information gathering, it's all about the enemy heroes at the start of the game. So every start of the game, I assess like if I'm a juggernaut, like what's gonna kill me. So that's what I look at. I'm like, what can stop me from spin TPing? What can kill me? If I'm like a Sven, the goal of Sven in team fights is that like what makes him good is he can just like blow up heroes, right? If he's allowed to attack for like 2 seconds. So in my mind, if I'm a Sven, I have to think to myself, what's going to stop me from attacking for 2 seconds and killing everybody? And so if they have like a lion or any other hero like a Rubik or something like that that's going to stun me or like laser me with Tinker, whatever it is, you have to think about the heroes that stop you from being able to just attack. So those are the heroes that you would focus first in fights. Like that's how you have to view it. Like if you don't focus those heroes, then you're gonna get stopped focusing the other heroes by those heroes. So that's like the kind of thing where every game you want to have a general idea of the game based on what you like, just have like a guess. And what happens is if you make these guesses, so say like they have a lion and you make the guess that you can kill their jug before you kill their lion, you're like, yeah, like the lion won't be able to get to me in time. But then you die because you go on the jug and the lion gets to you and hexes you immediately and you just get kited. God, these hiccups are brutal. So, yeah, this is the first time ever in a coaching session. So, but yeah, so like if you then get gone on by the lion, then if you're thinking about these kind of things, the next time around you're gonna be like, I should go on the lion first, and then that's gonna like change your perspective on the game. Because a lot of something I kind of realized how to put into words just yesterday on a coaching session, something I've probably talked about for a long time, is that mechanics are one thing, but your mechanics are honestly irrelevant if you don't know what you're supposed to do mechanically. Meaning, like, it doesn't matter how good your mechanics are if the second that a bounty hunter dives you with Darkseer, you didn't know what you were supposed to do. Because mechanically, it would have been flawless to run into the trees and juke them, but if you don't know that that's the right thing to do, it doesn't matter how good you are mechanically at juking through the trees, right? So, like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, in team fights, it doesn't matter how good, like, all the mechanics of team fights come down to knowing what you're supposed to be doing in team fights. And the best way to do so is just have a general idea for yourself at the beginning of the game. What's your role in the team fights? Am I an initiator? Am I following up? People go like, why do you get when do you get a blink dagger on Jug? And I'm like, for 2 reasons. 1, it helps me split push. 2, there's team fights sometimes where like the enemy team has like an Ember Spirit, and I have a Blink Initiator, and if I don't buy a Blink, I'm not going to be able to do any damage during their initiation, because, they blink in, the guy's stunned. Yeah, I can't follow up because it's like an Ember Spirit, so the second their disable ends, then the guy's gone. So it's something where, like, I look at what my job is in the game. Like, I'm just like, what do I have to do? Like, how do we kill these guys? And it's like, if, like, the times I don't need a blink, it's also very important I don't build one. It's like, if my job is to siege towers and be tanky while doing so and eat any of their initiation and survive it, then going Blink Dagger obviously isn't the best item. So going Blink Dagger in that scenario wouldn't make any sense. I'm just using him as an example. So, like, for Sven, though, it's one of those heroes where, like, the big question you have to ask yourself is, like, what small item do you go for? Like, Helm of the Dominator, am I going to be able to farm Ancients? Like, that game you didn't even go Helm because you knew you wouldn't be able to farm. That's fine, but, like, do I need a BKB to fight them? Is it more effective if, like, there's some games of Sven where, like, the best way to play him, in my opinion, is to be farming all game, and then once a fight breaks out, to show up, like, once it breaks out. And usually, if you show up after a fight's already started, you're not going to eat very many stuns or initiation because, they've already been used. So, in that case, maybe a BKB is less important. But sometimes you just can't fight at all without one. So it's one of those things where basing your playstyle on what you think you need, what you think you need to do, and building items, like, all these things, like, it's all just information gathering. And, like, for you personally, I see it there, like, it's hard to judge your item choices or anything from that game. Like, it's, like, incredibly impossible to judge. Like, your item choice made sense when you talked about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like that game. There's not much to go off on that. But what I see with you is the laning mechanics of prioritizing, pushing the lane, the escape plan idea of, like, what kills you, what threatens you, what your purpose is in the game right there. So when I say the purpose, I'm reemphasizing bottom, where, like, at that point you have nobody with you, you're not killing anybody. Your goal is to just get as much farm as possible without bleeding any more kills. So anytime you're going to take damage, you try to run away from it. That's the best thing to talk about. So then we're with the team fight that we had. So first off, it's a small thing, but armlet mechanics. There's a lot of times, like, in that game where you were downtime, meaning, like, you weren't attacking anybody, you were just running around and you had your armlet on. It's 45 damage a second, so it's a pretty good amount that you're basically taking a radiance burn when you're doing that. So that's, like, a small thing, but that's, like, something you just, like, I just could tell you need to work on your armlet mechanics, making sure you're not having it on when you're walking around in a team fight. But it's target prioritization, and so this goes along with what you were talking about, where you said you didn't know, like, I tried to focus one guy or whatever. So, like, in that game specifically, when are you going to be able to deal damage? Like, when? Yeah, okay, but, like, when are you going to be able to hit somebody? When are you going to be able to hit somebody? Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. So, in the team fight, you were walking onto targets prior to them getting gone on. Like, they weren't gone on yet. Excuse me. So, like, and also you were leaving your armlet on, doing so because you were, like, you had the potential to attack somebody, but you kept getting ran away from. So, like, it's kind of tough to, like, turn your armlet off for, like, a quarter of a second and then realize you might be able to attack somebody. You don't want to, like, miss damage on attacks, and I get that. So, but you're putting yourself in a spot where that's happening in the first place. Like, that's, like, the main problem, is avoiding the whole situation that is talked about happening. And so, in that fight, it's your whole purpose that if you're the follow-up, which in, like, some games as Sven, you are the initiation, but in this case, you're the follow-up, is to, like, kind of put yourself in a position to be as close to help as possible, but acknowledging that, like, that's why that's when you would automatically, innately, mechanically turn off your armlet, because you know that I'm only hitting somebody once somebody stuns, so this armlet's off until somebody stuns, right? Like, until somebody stuns a target that I'm going to go hit. And so it's one of those things where in that scenario, your only concern is your own positioning, and then kind of, like, your teammates' positioning as well, like, in terms of, like, what hero is going to be. So, like, in the back of my mind, I'm looking to see if Pudge is going to land a hook. In the back of my mind, I'm looking to see if Axe is taking any damage, or Sand King's taking any damage, say from an urn or anything that cancels their blink daggers. And if one of them is, so, like, I kind of just go through these things in my head. If Pudge is dead, or Pudge, like, just used hook and he missed, then I'll quickly shift my focus to Axe. If Axe is like earn charged, I'll quickly shift my focus to SK, and I'll just like I'll be looking for people to follow up based on like what's going on in the fight. So I'm looking to see who am I following up with their initiation. And that's why communication at like competitive levels is so important, because like generally speaking, you don't have time to check everything, like, or like sometimes there's stuff happening off your screen. So like if somebody says like, I have blinking three, I'm chasing, then like that makes my job, as a follow up, much easier than having to see things for myself. Uh, obviously that doesn't happen in pubs, but yeah, I mean sometimes yeah, but it's not. I'm saying it's not something you can rely on in pubs. So the major thing that like I'm just trying to focus on for you here is acknowledging your job and what you're looking to do in the game. So like it obviously I talked about in the fight already. So then the minute that you're ready for that hero to initiate, and so when they do initiate, it's not you reacting to their initiation, it's you following it up. It's like it's coming, or you expect that it could be coming, so that when it does come, you know exactly what you should do. And sometimes what that can even mean is like, so in certain games, if you're at higher levels, your understanding will be that like if you have a support lion, that if they have a shadow demon and a core that wants to be focused or should be focused, then if your lion should go on the shadow demon while you go on someone else. Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go on the person that shadow demon was meant to protect. But that's what I'm trying to say is like, go ahead. Go ahead. No, I'm saying like have the lion disable the shadow shaman while you kill the guy that the shadow shaman's supposed to protect. So, or even like a dazzle with an Huskar or something. Like somebody goes on the dazzle, but rather than you going on the dazzle with them, it's your job to go on the Huskar and kill the Huskar. So it's like one of those things where like what I'm trying to say is like understanding what your team's potential is. And it's like if your team can't reach the dazzle, then it's probably your job to reach the dazzle, because otherwise, you're all going to die to Huskar. But what I'm it just all goes along with this whole idea of like understanding what you're supposed to do, or giving a guess, like making like being like, yeah, I probably should do this, and like so if your guess is like I should follow up the axe, and then next time around the axe is earned and the SK blinks in and you weren't ready to follow up the SK because your idea was to follow up the axe, then your next like you should be able to learn from that and be like, yeah, okay, now I realize that I have two initiators and I should just be looking for which one can initiate and then follow them up. And it's something where these things, if you're looking for if I'm looking for them, if you're looking for them, you'll start solving your own problems, because you're gonna fuck up because you're gonna be wrong. Like I'm wrong still about about things, and the goal is to be wrong less and less. So if you have like a general game plan for when the bounty hunter dives you, right? Like right away, and you immediately react, like say you flawlessly react with whatever your game plan is, and you die, clearly that game plan was wrong. like, or clearly you should search for a better solution, right? Like, and so then what ends up happening is there's times where like that happens to you, and you try 4 different solutions, and every single solution involves you dying. So like that's like one of those things where now next time what your goal needs to be is just not let that situation happen at all. Like, whatever that situation is, don't let it happen. So like if you're gonna like if there's a chance that like if you're under tower and there's a chance that the bounty hunter is gonna be there already, then you should probably preemptively run into the trees and like avoid it, like understanding that you can't get that farm without risk of dying. And that's why when you see like professional games, you see like eternal envy and shit just like sitting in trees, because they're like, I'm not sure where everyone is, and I know that if 2 or 3 of them are in my lane, I die with every single possible outcome is me dying. So I'm gonna sit in the trees waiting for them to reveal what they're doing. So that's like the major thing, is like having that game plan. And if you start establishing a game plan and all of them go wrong, then you'll realize that the game plan just has to be to avoid what's happening. So like if you, for instance, say like the game plan is I have to kill this dazzle in a team fight, otherwise the Huskars are going to kill us all, and you try over the course of 10 games 3 different ways to go on dazzle and none of them work, then maybe you realize we actually just can't fight the dazzle Huskar at our tier 1 tower, and we have to let them have it. Like, we have to just let them have the tier 1, otherwise we're just going to keep losing at the tier 1 every time I try to do this. And that's why when you see at the professional level these teams, like, deciding not to take engagements, like, they're just not fighting, like, they're letting the other team take tier 2 at 9 minutes with a drow strat because they know they can't do anything about it. Like, they just can't do anything about it. And the reason why they know they can't do anything about it is because they've tried everything that they can do about it. Excuse me, the hiccups is insane. But they've tried everything that they can do about it, and none of it worked. So, like, they realize that, like, they have to make do with what else there is to do around the map. They can figure out ideally. So then now, next time the Drow's pushing, bottom, they would be like, they would have in their mind, what's the most efficient thing we can do around the map? So maybe they would be farming 2 waves while somebody's jungling, and maybe one person's bottom stalling the push as much as possible, but, like, accepting that they're going to lose the tower, but buying time for their team to farm. And that's how they but that's how they come to these solutions, because they originally would try something else and it failed. But having the plan in the first place is the most important thing. And for you, that's like, I can just tell you didn't have a plan, like, at all the entire time you were playing. So yeah, the major thing is, like, in other matchups when it's not Darkseer, just, like, when you're laning, I really want you to focus on minimizing harass with lane aggro, so, like, pulling the creeps towards you and then minimizing harass that way against ranged heroes. But then also, if you push out the lane, it's just going to make your lane much easier. I want you, if you're playing Sven specifically, because he's just so straightforward on how to push the lane, I want you to, like, really practice pushing the lane and just pulling it over and over. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. And you're going to run into, like, a bunch of random scenarios. And the best way to pull is you pull it 53 on the minute mark. You pull it through that open tree way, like, not through the trees, not between the trees on Dire or on Radiant. You pull it in the big opening. And then you immediately run your hero back down the lane, because you want to cut off their creep wave and kill it with your cleave. So, like, no, you don't. Like, if you let the creep wave chase you under tower, if you don't go cut off their creep wave, then that enables the offlaner to just walk over to the stack and potentially get the last hits on his creeps, or farm the stack. If he's like a axe or something, he can actually just, like, farm the stack. Obviously, it's hard to zone an axe out as Sven, but, like, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so, like, my point being is, like, think about the pull is your, like, is your base. Like, you have to protect it. So if you're not walking forward, you're willing to tank some damage from the creeps. Excuse me, if you are protecting it. So, like, the major thing is, so what you're going to realize is, like, if you're against certain lanes, you'll realize at the beginning of the game, like, or, like, one game you'll do this, and you'll run out of regen before you get your Helm of Iron Will. And you'll be like, I'm out of regen, or Morbid Mask, whatever. And then, so next time around, you'll buy more regen, like, at the start of the game. Or if you do this and you run out of mana, or whatever the hero you're playing is, you run out of something, or something becomes extremely difficult, you can't push the lane because you didn't have an early enough quelling, then, like, there are some matchups where, like in the old days when Prophet was really popular in the off lane, I, like, made sure I bought a quelling on Sven. Like, I'd save the gold like you had, where I'd go Tango South Stout and then buy a quelling right at the start. Because in order to push the wave against the Prophet, I needed a quelling right at the start of the game. I couldn't push the wave hard enough without it. So it's one of those things where you're going to start recognizing the things that you're needing to do these things, and that's your job. And, like, so when I say running into these push-pull scenarios, it's not always perfect to push-pull every single wave at the 53, but you're never going to learn when it's wrong if you're not just doing it all the time. Like, I learned a lot of times where it's wrong by doing it all the time and realizing, wow, that actually was a disadvantageous pull to myself. Like, I'd rather have not done that pull in the first place. So yeah, that's the major thing for you. Go ahead. Yeah, no, it does. It does reset. It absolutely resets. Yeah, that's the purpose. Yeah. And that's why you're also, like, killing their wave. That's also why you're killing theirs. Because it effectively resets. He's getting 40 from a creep wave rather than 200. You're getting 200 XP compared to his 40. So it's a pretty good amount. It's 20% of 200. So he's getting 40. And even if he manages to go over there and farm it while you're killing his creep wave. So first off, here's what happens when you walk down the creep wave and cut it, right? I'll give you the best tip I can give. So if you're walking down and cutting it, you recognizing you're going to be tanking creeps. I'll ask you a question. What do you do if you walk down and cut the wave and the enemy hero tries to harass you? Wait, what are you saying? I just pulled I just pulled your wave. You just pulled your wave. No, as the safe laner, you just pulled the wave. You pulled the wave at 53. Okay. You took your own creep wave. Yeah, you walked your hero down the lane to meet their creep wave. Did you not understand that that's what I was talking about before? That's okay if you didn't. Is that not what you understood? Okay, okay. No. So now I'm saying you're now cut off the creep wave. So that not only are you cutting their creep off to protect your camp, but also if you don't cut it off, sometimes those creeps in lane will stop your creeps from aggroing the pull camp. So that then you won't effectively pull it. That's like a whole reason. Like if you watch me on stream, like I promise you, if you watch one game where I'm able to pull, you'll see exact mechanics of it. Or even just watch a replay of mine of some sort. But so if you do that, my question for you is if you walk down the lane and cut his creep wave off, and he spends his time, and you've already pulled yours, okay, and he spends his time trying to harass you, what should you do? It's already pulled. What are you talking about? You're already... Oh, pull his creep wave. Okay. Okay, I'll give you a hint. While he's doing this, what's happening? Yes. So why not just run away and kite him around? Like, if... Yeah, but don't run, like, immediately back. Like, minimize as much damage as you're taking from the creeps. Like, so, like, kind of, like, run in a line and, like, maybe run in some circles. And if he keeps chasing you, he's just, like, don't let him hit you let him hit you as little as possible. If he's a ranged hero, stay as out of range as possible. And the minute that he runs away, or like he's like, oh shit, I'm losing my creeps, that's when you start attacking the creeps again. So like if it's a melee hero, if they're walking away from you, you attack the creeps. If they're walking towards you, you walk away. Because the whole time, like that's what the benefit of pulling also is. You're buying your they're on a clock. If they're not actually doing something, they're losing. Like they're actually just losing. So they're forced to do something, which makes it really obvious that they're doing something. Like, it makes it really obvious if you know that if you're in a game where you're so far ahead that the enemy team's only comeback mechanic is killing you, it makes it, like, so much easier to play the game. You know, like, their option is not to farm. Like, they have to kill you, so just do whatever it takes to avoid them killing you, and you'll win the game. Like, so it's the same idea on the lane. If they're not doing anything to you, they're just losing the lane, because their creeps are gone. Like, they're just losing. So, like, if that kind of time, so that's the case is where if they're trying to harass you, then you push out the creeps. Then you back off until their creeps are dead, and then maybe you're willing to take the creep wave under tower. That's cage because it has got an entire wave denied to them. That 20% is pretty irrelevant, by the way. But so then on top of that, though, if they're trying to contest the big camp while you're on your creeps, what should your job be? What should you do if they're trying to walk over and farm the big camp? Yeah, they go to the pull camp. What should you do now? Yeah, you still have the creep wave. No, why is that bad? Why is that bad? That is sometimes correct, but most of the time it's bad. Most of the time it's bad. You should kill the wave as fast as possible, such that when they're trying to kill your creep wave next to you within the big camp, you can walk over and hit them. Because now, think about it. You kill their wave, right? You kill their wave, especially as a Sven. You kill their wave. What obligation? Yeah, you have nothing else to do, right? Nothing else for you to benefit from. And at the same time, they have everything to benefit from and everything to lose from. They have this whole creep wave that's going to get denied. So if they're not over there, they're getting denied a creep wave. So they're forced to be there while you're not at all. So you have all the control. You have all the control in this lane because they're forced to be there and you're not. So if you walk up and attack them and they attack you back, they're just going to lose creeps during that time. Like, they're just going to be losing creeps. But you also have your own creeps there, so if they attack you, your creeps are going to run at them, and so is the big camp, because the big camp's going to follow your creeps. So then the minute that happens, you back off. So it's like all about making the other person have to be doing something while you don't have to be doing something. So like when if like in recognizing what they have to be doing. So like if like I said, if they're trying to harass you with the creeps, then like they have to be getting that XP from the pull camp, otherwise they're just losing. So like just back off and let them miss the XP. And that's like the big thing is like if you think about those things with the push pull scenario, you're gonna put yourself in these situations, and it's like the same idea as like having a game plan. It's like, if he tries to harass me, this is what I'm going to do. And there's like, there's exceptions to every rule. There's exceptions to everything. And just like I said, like pulling your creeps into the big camp is oftentimes wrong, but there are exceptions to that. There are times where that is correct. So if you never pull them into the big camp, there may be times where you're like, yeah, I actually just needed to pull them into the big camp there. And next time around, you'll try it and then figure it out what it does for you and see if you miss CS doing it or whatever. A lot of time that pulling creeps into the big camp is if I'm like a life stealer and I know that like I win any right click trade with the offlaner, like so that I know that if he's over there at all, I can just like walk at him and hit him. Like that's when I know like that's like a good time to pull my creeps into his, because I want everything going on over there. I want like him forced into a scenario where he has to be there, and I'm fine with that. But generally speaking, a lot of times that's not the case with like carries like Sven or like a lot of other heroes in general. Don't really like that scenario all that much. Jug's okay because of spin like happening, like especially once you have like phase boots or whatever. But yeah, that's like the big thing is having a game plan for yourself in every regard. And the thing in lane I want you to focus on is pushing the lane and pulling it, especially with Sven. And then once in every scenario you're in, especially if they have a roamer being like, if this guy shows up in my lane, what am I gonna do? Like, can I contest their pull if they are trying to farm their creeps at the pull, but there's somebody else here? And like, how I said like you kill the creep wave as fast as possible and walk over. But like at the same time, if you be like, if bounty hunter's here, can I afford to do that? And you have to make a guess for yourself. And then if you make that guess, then if it's wrong, you'll adjust. So like if you're like, yeah, I can still contest, don't worry. And then you get hit by the bounty hunter, slowed, and it's a Beastmaster off lane, and you take 600 damage and health, and you're down to 150 health, and now you're sad. And it's like, next time around, you ain't gonna fucking contest that pull. Like, it just ain't gonna happen. And that's the point I'm trying to make for you is like, from what I saw, I feel like you're not taking the proper steps to make these wrong calls in order to correct yourself. And I know I just gave you an entirely long speech about it, but that's like a really important concept that can be overarching for you. Are there any questions you have about any of the stuff I talked about, or anything else that I didn't talk about? You should never let him do it. It's like the support's job to not let him do it. A lot of times you'll see me on, so you'll see me on lane a lot where, if I'm like last hitting under tower because my support pulled, I'll actually like just walk past my creep, like knowing that the guy's gonna try to pull, or like it's an opportunity for him to potentially pull. I'll actually just walk past my creeps and have like the enemy creeps, have them follow me over just to stop him from pulling. I actually like just stop him from pulling. Like I'll actually tank a little bit. It's worth tanking some creeps. Yeah, just to block him, even if I'm supposed to last in their tower. Most of the time that they're able to pull the creep wave is if they're pushing it towards you really hard or your support pulled the small camp. That's generally the times where they're able to do that. So at those kind of times, I'll purposely walk over and like at that point in time, I'm just trying to minimize as much damage as possible because I'm obviously tanking creeps. I don't want to take any damage from him. He knows, a good player would know, that you're the one that is on the opposite end of that deal. Like you have something that needs to be done, but he doesn't, so he can use that time to harass you. So at that point your goal is to minimize as much harass as possible while blocking his ability to pull that camp, and like that's what your goal is. And like it's really important that you don't. The only time I let them pull the camp is if I know it's not stacked, I know they're not able to stack it during the pull, and I know that I'm not really able to stop them from farming that well, so I'm basically letting them give me a big camp in exchange for them having free farm on one creep wave. Like, they get free farm for one creep wave, while I get a full creep wave and a full big camp. Like, that's what I'm getting out of it. And there are times where that's the case as well, but that's only if the camp's not stacked. Like, if the camp's stacked or could be stacked, I never let them pull it, because it just fucks you really hard to do that. So, any other questions? Yeah, I know it's a lot, and I know it's a lot of a one little game, but that's the point. Is I feel like it's something. I feel like I'm pretty accurate with what I gauged on there. Like sometimes I'm wrong. But yeah, so that's the major thing I want you to focus on, man. And if you have any questions about it, just briefly message me on Steam. If I don't respond, like it's not because I hate you. Just try again another time. I'm just busy. So, um, yes, message me while I'm streaming on a coaching session while talking to the guy in the same conversation we're having right now. So, but yeah, but no, I appreciate it, man. I hope you enjoyed the session. Talk to you later, dude.